Wheels of the super trucks roll east, over the Rockies, and into America's heartland. The super truck heroes are poised and ready for the next green flag, anxious for the chance to get back on the track and to get back into it. Motorsports presents live exclusive coverage of the Western Auto 200 for NASCAR's Super Trucks by Craftsman Series. From I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri, where yesterday this race fell victim to rain, but today the racetrack is reasonably dry, so are the parking areas, and we're set to go racing despite gusty winds. Hi everybody, I'm Mike Joy. Ron Hornaday Jr. will start on the pole because this race will start by point standings. This is a good place to be on the pole.
It is. Papa John's Pizza Chevrolet is running excellent today. Doug Richards and the guys done a great job, and never been here at I-70, and it's going to be great to see what the first lap's like.
Now, you got a bit of a car wash in practice today.
I did. I just tried too hard coming off at turn 4 there, and I got into the mud a little bit, and took about 20 minutes to wash it off, but everything was great. Nothing's wrong with the truck.
Okay. Well, let's go out to the area that is still a bit damp from water seepage. Ralph Shaheen is there.
This is the problem area here at I-70 today. This is on the back stretch, and we actually have a stream of water running right down the center of the racetrack. There are cracks in the pavement, and those cracks have water seeping up through them, flooding out portions of the racetrack. And it's not just here on the back stretch. It's coming off at turn 2, down in turns 3 and 4 as well. And this is very tricky for the drivers. We've had quite a few of them spin in this portion of the racetrack because this is one section where you're really trying to apply power to the track surface, trying to make the truck hook up, and they're having a lot of problems with that here today. Now, one driver who has had great success here at I-70 is former ASA champion Butch Miller, and he's standing by with our Glenn Jarrett.
Well, you're exactly right, Ralph. When it comes to experience, nobody here has more than Butch Miller. How about it today, Butch? Is that experience going to be a big factor, particularly because you didn't get much practice?
Well, you never know. Tracks like this are, you know, for a guy like Hornaday or Skinner, it doesn't matter to them. You know, a track is new to them for the first 5 minutes, and then they're as good as anybody.
Well, you're starting on the outside of the front row today, a good qualifying position because you didn't have to qualify.
What do you mean I didn't have to qualify? I thought that was very, very strategic. It was a terrific effort. I mean, what more could you do but call for rain? You know, we drew number 1. I'm sure that if we had qualified, no, wait a minute, I'm going back. I was going to tell you I qualified 23rd. Not true. We'd have been right on the pole. We were quick today. We had the quickest time of anybody that I clocked, and I didn't clock anybody. But we had the quickest time. We would have been on the pole anyhow.
Well, maybe you believe that, folks. I'm not so sure I do. Anyway, Butch Miller will be a factor in today's race. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the starting lineup right after this message.
Point standings have set the starting lineup here at I-70 Speedway, a very steeply banked near half mile in Odessa, Missouri. On the pole, Ron Hornaday Jr. out of Palmdale, California. He's the point leader in the Chevrolet. Butch Miller's Ford will share the front row. Miller, the number 2 point man from Vermillion, Ohio. Row number 2, Mike Skinner, now out of Randleman, North Carolina, in a Chevy, and Joe Rutland's Ford from California. In row number 3, Bill Sedgwick of Acton, California, in a Chevy, and Rick Corelli from Denver, also in a Chevrolet. Row number 4, Jack Sprague from Spring Lake, Michigan, in a Chevy, and P.J. Jones from Torrance, California, also in a Chevrolet. Row number 5, Scott Lagacy of St. Augustine, Florida, in his Chevrolet, and the Ford F-150 of Toby Butler, Kirkland, Washington. 11th in points, 11th on the grid, Bob Strait from Mokina, Illinois, the Target Expediting Ford, and Sammy Swindell of Bartlett, Tennessee, in a Ford. Row number 7 from Milwaukee, Oregon, Mike Bliss, now a long way from home, and Bob Keselowski from Rochester, Michigan, in a Dodge. Kerry Teague out of North Carolina in a Chevrolet, and Jerry Glanville, the coach, driving his own Ford. Row number 9, off-road ace Walker Evans, Riverside, California, in a Dodge, and Mike Hurlburt of Linden, Washington, in a Ford. Row number 10, teenager John Kinder from California, he's in a Ford, and Steve Fortengay, the Southwest Tour champion from Nevada, in a Chevy. Row 11 is John Nemechek out of Florida. He's in a Chevrolet. And Dave Resendiz from Massachusetts in a Ford. Row number 12, Steve McEachran from Arizona driving his Chevrolet. And Ron Esau from California in the backup Walker Evans Dodge truck. Last row is Jerry Churchill's son Randy out of Windsor, Ontario in the Churchill Ford. And Michael Dawkin makes his first Super Truck start. He's from St. Petersburg, Florida. He's in a Chevrolet.
Giving them a few extra pace laps, Mike, to try to ensure that the heat is built up in the tires, and also to make sure that there are no wet spots still on the racetrack. Guys been tiptoeing a little bit here today.
Yes, there hasn't been a lot of practice time, and of course no qualifying. Today you'll be riding with Rick Corelli. Out of Denver, Colorado, there's the Marshall Chevron Total Petroleum Chevrolet number 6. Here's the race cam view inside Rick Corelli's Chevy truck. And out the right side window. Here's a look at that race cam. And one of our favorites, gun rack cam. They're looking out the rear window, over the spoiler, and roof cam. That's as close as you'll get to the view that Rick Corelli sees of the rest of this group. They have held off the start here. Yellow waves again for a couple of laps to make sure there's enough heat in these vehicles and in the racetrack. This is number 7 of the 20 race series. 26 trucks will start today's race, 200 laps with a halftime break. As usual, the teams will have 10 minutes to work in the pit to make any repairs necessary.
We'll take a look at the track. Of course, it is a 1/2 mile, a long half mile, they call it, a little bit over a half mile. But the thing you have to look at is that banking in the turns. 32 degrees in 1 and 2, 30 degrees in 3 and 4. Having a little bit of slippery problem down in 3 and 4. The trucks just don't seem to hook up quite as well in 3 and 4 as they have in 1 and 2, but this is one of the highest banked facilities that will race on, very comparable to Bristol, Tennessee.
The difference you'll see, Glenn, right here, folks, as they go into turn 1. Look at the color of the asphalt change right there. That is much newer pavement than what's up in turns 3 and 4. Now this extends, there you see, just toward the exit of turn number 2. So it makes not only is the banking different, but the pavement surface is a lot different from one end to the other.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good bit smoother. That new pavement is smoother in 1 and 2 than the older pavement is down in 3 and 4. In fact, there's a couple of spots. A couple of guys told me if you got hooked up in the wrong place coming off of 4, it'll shoot you right out to the wall before you can do anything to it.
Rain delayed 1 day, but here on this, the greatest day in American motorsports, Indy cars, Super Trucks, Winston Cup cars, everything runs on Memorial Day weekend. And we're about to here at Odessa, Missouri for 200 laps of the Super Truck by Craftsman Series. Green flag, and Hornaday grabs the gear and goes. Butch Miller is going to drop right in behind him in second. It's 2 by 2 for third as Joe Ruttman fights up to the outside of number 3, Mike Skinner.
See the trucks in the outside lane. I don't think Butch Miller wanted any part of that outside lane. He was just going to wait, let things get sorted out a little bit, see how the tires are in the first few laps of this race. Right now you see some guys on the outside lane getting left behind.
P.J. Jones, Toby Butler climb the hill, so does Jack Sprague. Leaders out of turn 2, back straight away. There they are, 16. Hornaday, 98, Butch Miller, and number 3, Mike Skinner. Look at this pack. Toby Butler is still hanging it on the outside. Loose. Legacy got real loose, almost lost it.
He certainly did. He turned it sideways. He did a good job of saving the truck there. I thought that for a moment there he might take himself and Toby Butler out of the race this early, but both guys did a good job.
Most of the folks on pit road expect a rather calamitous race because of the lack of practice time, the seepage through some of this racetrack.
Well, we just saw Mike Skinner move under Butch Miller. Butch got a little loose coming off of 4 there, and Skinner wasted no time in his number 3 Goodwrench Chevrolet and jumping under Miller's Ford. See another Ford that just came in the picture there, the 84. You see him up on the outside of Butch Miller. That's the Coca-Cola No Fear machine of Joe Ruttman trying to take away 3rd place.
Ruttman moves to the outside of Miller. Long way around, you see there with that steep banking. The bottom groove top groove equally as fast. The distance makes the difference.
Absolutely. This is one of the first racetracks that we've been on, one of the few that we can see this kind of side-by-side racing action where the upper groove or the lower groove, either one, is not really any slower, any faster than the other.
Butch Miller there, Glenn, just rolled out of the throttle coming out of the front straightaway and let Ruttman go.
He certainly did. He's not racing anybody, but he told me he was going to take it a little easy through the first part of the race, let things kind of sort out. He didn't want to really have to run anybody real hard early on. He wanted to try to save his truck for the end.
Ron Hornaday started first on point standings, but still the NASCAR officials said, all right, since you are technically the pole sitter, you have to draw how many pills to see how many cars positions we're going to invert at the start. He goes, invert? I thought we were starting by points. Yes, but we still have to draw to see if we invert. He drew 0, so they started straight up. He had a big laugh about that.
A very fortuitous draw.
Yeah.
You see the number 16 Papa John's Pizza Chevrolet truck moving away from the field. He's put about 15, 20 car lengths on Mike Skinner, who's running second right now. Skinner being challenged in the meantime by Joe Ruttman's Ford. Ruttman had one of the fastest trucks in practice here all morning. I really look to him to challenge Hornaday for the lead.
P.J. Jones of the diehard number 1, the Ortho 21 of Toby Butler.
Butler was also one of the quick trucks in practice. They're going for 7th place right now. No mistaking PJ's number 1 Sears diehard truck, is there?
No, that's a pretty unique paint job.
Well, or what about the Ortho truck with Butler? I mean, it looks like it's got grass growing up.
Has that grass gotten taller with all this rain?
All this rain out here.
Look at the side of that truck.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it has.
It's been too wet to mow.
Yeah, or repaint. They're running down Ron Hornaday.
They certainly are. Mike Skinner and Joe Ruttman, which you can't see him come into the picture yet. There you see Ruttman's red Ford. They have really covered some ground in catching leader Ron Hornaday. I believe right now that Ruttman is still the fastest truck on the racetrack. He's just holding his own behind Skinner until they can catch Hornaday. Maybe he wants to pass him into traffic.
Now straight away behind them, I think Rick Corelli, having moved past Butch Miller, will see if he's able to gain ground because he is also very quick. In the Joe Ruttman pits, here's Ralph Shaheen.
Joe Ruttman is running a very unusual line down in turns 3 and 4, gentlemen. We've done a lot of live ASA races here on TNN, and the usual line through 3 and 4 is down along the bottom on the white line. As he goes down into turn 3, he's diamonding off the turn, letting the truck run up high, to turning it tight about the middle of the turn and running it back down to the bottom. It's been a very, very quick line for Joe. That might be the key here today.
Thanks, Ralph. He takes the long line there at turn 1. Doesn't gain any ground on Mike Skinner that time. And Corelli with Miller continue their own battle. They are not catching these two. We've completed 20 laps of 200 here at Odessa, Missouri and I-70 Speedway. We'll be right back with you live on the Nashville Network. He is out on the Speedway.
Must be something on the racetrack, Mike. There's not a truck turned around that I see.
No, but while we were under green, Mike Skinner took the lead away from Ron Hornaday in heavy traffic. Let's show you what happened when the lead changed hands.
Once you're going into traffic, you see Hornaday down on the bottom. He tried to get under Jerry Glanville, make it 3 wide down the front stretch. Ran out of room as they got down into turn 1. Just merely had to roll out of the throttle. Hornaday and Ruttman went right by him on the outside. No place for Ron to go.
Glenn, the reason for the caution was Walker Evans. He got way down at turn number 4 in, as if he was coming toward pit road, got down off the racetrack. Big, huge puddle of water. Shot it all up the racetrack. Managed to maintain control, but that is the reason the caution is out.
And now you see Walker Evans' truck sitting there. Number 20. The Barbary Coast Dodge.
He's brought it to a halt in the infield pit area here, just off the back straightaway.
See the crew, and there's Ron Esau. Just got out of the other Walker Evans truck, helping to push it around. They reckon Ron's worked pretty hard. Obviously, something happened to the powertrain.
What did Walker tell you about catching the handle of these pavement trucks?
Which time?
The one where he said something about, he says, I believe if they would just put a jump in the middle of the beach straightaway, we'd be all set.
He said that would more than equalize things.
Yeah, it certainly would. But I'll tell you, I give the man a lot of credit. He is probably one of the most talented off-road racers ever, and he is really trying to make this work on the pavement with the Dodge.
He has a great sense of humor about it, too. He knows he's got some problems getting a handle on things, but he's laughing at himself just right along. Neat guy.
Here's a look at this big racing weekend, brought to you by Auto Week, America's only enthusiast weekly. Today, the Indianapolis 500, Winston Cup action. The Coke 600 at Charlotte later on today. Formula One this morning.